Hi, Dr. Rodriguez. My name is Clara Aragon.
My name is Clara Villarreal.
And today we're going to be talking to you about 3 different movies that we watched. The first one is The Book of Life, Coco, and Puss in Boots 2.
We found some common themes with all 3 of the movies. I think the most prevalent one though was death. And
definitely.
Dia de los Muertos.
Mm-hmm.
There was this funny line in The Book of Life where one of the kids, he's like, "What is it with Mexicans and death?" And it made me giggle. I mean, Dia de los Muertos is obviously a very big thing in Mexico, and even down here in the south of Texas.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, both Coco and Book of Life go over it. I don't think Puss in Boots, doesn't really have Dia de los Muertos. It's not.
Yeah,
it
doesn't focus on the Dia de los Muertos aspect, but it is like the whole plot of the movie is that Puss is on his last life.
Yeah.
So he's afraid of dying.
He finally realizes oh, I actually gotta take care of myself. And then Dia de los Muertos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in Coco and in the Book of Life, they both have that. They both show that land of the dead, land of the remembered, land of the forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's really cool because that is also a huge part in Mexican culture of when people pass away, they're not really gone. They're still with you. And I think it's cool the way that these movies portray death. Because it kind of shows that, it's not the end entirely. And then it shows, everyone's partying in the after, or, they're having a good time or whatever.
Yeah.
They have their
families.
They have their families, yeah. And even those that are still living, they still celebrate them with the ofrendas or going to the cemetery and leaving things and stuff like that. I think that's really nice.
Yeah. There was a lot of marigolds.
Oh, yeah.
For Coco, there was that bridge of the marigolds. I thought that was beautiful. And the fact that, what's his name? The dad? When he was trying to cross over the first time and his picture wasn't up.
Oh,
and he would just sink into the marigolds.
Hector.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool that they couldn't get across. And it kind of reminded me of I think it's called the Styx in Greek.
Oh,
Greek mythology.
I think I've heard of that before.
But and then they use the marigold to get the kid's name. What's his name?
Miguel. I think that's his name, right? In Coco?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Miguel.
To get him back to.
Yeah. For Dia de los Muertos, the marigold is one of, I guess it's the flower. It's the flower that represents Dia de los Muertos, and that's the main thing you'll put on your ofrenda. Or I've even seen, not my family personally, but other families will put marigolds into the house or into their loved ones room wherever they were before, so they know okay, this is where you're gonna come when you come back.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yeah. And I personally, I do put up an ofrenda, and even for my pets that have passed away, I put their little pictures up and I put little snacks for them. Okay, they'll be good when they get here.
That's so cute. Let's see. The Land of the Remembered, and then The Land of the Forgotten, both in Coco and The Book of Life, have pretty similar visuals of how that happens. I think Puss in Boots, it doesn't really show it, but Puss himself is scared that he will be forgotten.
Yeah.
And he's trying to, I guess, I don't know.
I think he's trying to maintain legend status.
Yeah.
He wants to be that guy all the time. Yeah, I know it doesn't really show it a lot in the Puss in Boots movie, but I like how in Book of Life and Coco it does. And I think to replace that, in the Puss in Boots movie, that's why they have that death wolf. I forgot his name, but it's the wolf that represents death, and I honestly honestly, like, he scared me. The first time I saw it, he, like, whistles a really creepy, like, whistle.
Yeah.
And he just comes out at the most random times. And the first time I saw it, I was like, there's no way kids are watching this. And, like, sleeping at night.
Well, before we had this assignment, I hadn't seen any of the movies. But I'd seen clips of Puss in Boots. And people were saying it was really good. So I was excited to watch it.
Yeah, it was good.
But honestly, Coco was probably my favorite because it was more like emotional.
Yeah, it definitely was.
So
I cry every single time I see that movie. I think just even the whole like production of it, or the production of like all of them, the animation, the music, it's very, very colorful, very vivid. I think for the Book of Life and Coco, they mostly take place in like that afterlife world, and in Puss in Boots, he's still like on the earthly world, I guess. But even then, everything is still like colorful, and all the villains are very colorful and very outgoing.
In the Book of Life, I did like how they used like wooden figures.
Yeah.
Instead of like it goes from them telling the story and then them telling the story about the three.
The three little kids, the main kids. Yeah, I like that too. Like I guess the animation style change. It kind of helps like us like as an audience see like, okay, this is then and this is now. Yeah, I liked it a lot, and I just like how all the different colors like remind me personally of home, because I'm from El Paso, and like driving by the border highway every day, I'd see all the super colorful houses in Juarez, and that like main scene in Coco when he crosses over. Everything is just like so beautiful and colorful, and like to me that's what like Mexico looks like. Just because that's what I grew up seeing every single day. Even though Juarez isn't the nicest place, it is definitely a colorful and fun place.
I want to talk about the spirit guides. For Puss in Boots, Perito was kind of like his little guide to get him, like,
And I'm glad that you brought that up, because he's the same type of dog in Coco, but
it's
he's
the
just
same
like
dog.
little.
Oh,
I think so.
I don't know. The dog in Coco was a little crazy.
He was a little crazy, but they both had that same little like tongue sticking out, they were kind of like scruffy kind of thing, and I thought that was cute.
In Coco, I really liked how they went over like I don't know how to say the
alebrijes.
Yes. I thought that was really cool because I see those all over the place. I have a little cat one.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really cool that he turned into one at the very end.
Yeah, I like that a lot. That's what those dogs. It's called a cholo squeak, something like that.
I don't know.
But those are like also the main like representation of like alebrijes from like, because you can have dogs like that, alive. And a lot of people have them, especially Mexican people, because they think they take care of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So like these animals, like if you have an animal, it's kind of like your guide. Like already you've picked that guide.
Yeah. That's your guide. That's your like protector. The same way people get like German Shepherds or Cane Corsos as like guard dogs for the house. Yeah. Like Mexican families will get little Chihuahuas or little Cholos Squinkles, and those are their like guide dogs. Those are their protectors.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
My cat would.
Oh yeah, mine too.
And then the Book of Life doesn't really. I mean, for each of the two, they're not brothers, but to me in my head they are.
They're basically brothers.
There's the good girl. I don't know her name.
Maria?
Is that her? No, not the girl. The gods, I guess.
Oh, the Santa Muerte. Right, the one with the big red dress.
Yes. And she was kind of like the god for, I think his name Manuel. No, Manolo. And then the other guy was like the guide for the other guy. Yeah. So it's not really like a traditional spirit guide, but like they're there helping them out. So that was the link I made. And all three of the movies, they kind of just wanted their lives back. And the whole time, the whole movie was just about them getting it back.
Yeah, that is true.
Because in Puss in Boots, I mean, he already lost 8 of his 9 lives, and he's trying to get the wish so he can get another 9 lives.
Mm-hmm.
And then in Coco, he went over
and he wants to come back to his normal life.
I mean, he does come back, but he wants to be able to play music, so he goes back. And then Manolo, obviously, he was tricked into going to the other side.
Yeah.
So they each have, I mean, and not even like themselves, but like all of the people in the afterlife are all like, they don't want to be forgotten, because obviously they're gonna go from being in the remembered to the forgotten. Yeah,
and then from the forgotten, you're just gone. Yeah, I did notice that too. I think that like it shows up in Coco in the Book of Life in the like after part, and like these people already excuse me, they already passed away, and I think like that's like kind of the main like premise of like the Puss in Boots movies. Like he doesn't want to be forgotten, like already, like he's already afraid of it. And I did notice that although they talk about like death and stuff, it's a little bit different in the sense that the Book of Life and Coco kind of like honor death more, and in Puss in Boots Puss just wants to be honored like himself. Like there's like a tiny bit of like selfishness, I feel, with him not wanting to be forgotten. And I think it shows that kind of like two sides of the coin. Like there's a lot of people like I know my family personally, they're like, hey, if it's my time, it's my time. You know, they're not afraid of dying. And there's other people that are like, oh, well, no, like I want to be around for a long time and blah, blah, blah. And that's kind of like how Puss is. So it's like that two sides of the coin. Like they're honored and remembered in the first one, and in Puss he's like, I don't want to die. Like he is so afraid that he will do anything to not die.
I guess he just kind of learned like, I need to appreciate the life I have right now. So at the very end though, Puss realizes that, you know, he doesn't have to take the wish because he has his family now. And so he eventually comes to a selflessness, like the other two movies.
It's like that personal growth.
And like Coco, I guess you could say for like was she like the great-great-grandmother? And she was like, you can't go if you play music.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not even just Miguel, it's her too, and like the people, because Hector too. I guess all of them. I don't know if I'm saying this right, but
no, I get you. They all wanted to do things like on their own terms. And then everyone has that like personal growth of like, okay, like we're all family. We need to get along, like support each other, things like that.
And then in Book of Life at the very end, Joaquin gives his medal to Manolo.
Again, that selflessness.
So these characters that were selfish had the character growth of becoming not.
That's so true. That's so true.
And it's not even just like the main characters either. It's just, like the side characters too. That's what I was trying to say. And then I guess we can go to music now.
Oh yeah, I loved all of the music in Coco. Like when it would first come out, I would literally like, no shame, like just put the soundtrack on in my car and just like listen to it. Especially because I'm a flute player, and there's a lot of flute in there, and there's a lot of like pan flute kind of stuff, and I was just like, wow, like this is so cool. Like this is so cool, and it sounds amazing. And I've seen like like videos on like Facebook or like on social media of them like making the movie and recording, and the whole like production that they put on to make.
Yeah, because one time, because I play the clarinet, and we went to Disney, and they had like the movie on, and then we would play it with it. Like we would learn the music and then play with. It was really cool to watch. Cool. Yeah, that's so cool. And then they sent us the recording, and then
that's really cool.
It was really cool.
I've always wanted to do that. That's really cool. But I think I like that they put so much into like an orchestra and like band and things like that in Coco, and in the Book of Life they do a lot of like I guess more well-known songs.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
pop
like popular songs.
Yeah,
I noticed that too.
Yeah, I think they do a really good interpretation of making it in, I guess, sort of like a Mexican style, or putting that like classical guitar, or the very like the singing style, because I'm in mariachi. I can relate the singing style a lot because it's good and it's trained, but it's not perfect. You know, and I think that's a really good, a really big prevalent factor in mariachi singing is that it's really good, but you don't think of like an opera singer or like a perfect classically trained, you know, something like that.
It's more like authentic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I couldn't think of the word. I was gonna say acoustic. It's not. It's authentic.
It can be.
Yeah, it's more like heartfelt.
Yeah. And then there was like an emphasis on the guitar.
Yeah.
For like Miguel. Right, and then Manolo, and they wanted to really play music, and both of their family, they're like, no, you're not doing this. You're doing what the family does.
Yeah.
So the family, the business, you're gonna do that.
I think even in Puss in Boots, I think Puss plays the guitar, like just for fun. Just for fun, he does play the guitar also, and there's even a scene. It's not in Puss in Boots 2, but I remember in the one before, he hits Kitty Southpaws over the head with a guitar, and it's so funny. It's so funny. That just reminded me of that. Because I think in the Book of Life that also happens. Like he either hits someone with a guitar or it breaks somehow or something.
I think in Coco, the grandma, she like smashes
it. That's the one it
and
is.
That broke my heart. I was like, no.
Yeah. But I think it just goes to show, like we were talking about earlier, like that selfishness, like that character, and the lengths that they took it to, so that you can see that like personal growth that we were talking about earlier.
So their families are obviously like very important to them, and they want to please their family. Yeah. But like they also want to do what they want to do too. Let's see what else. Oh, I noticed the bells.
Someone always dies with a bell. They always get crushed by a bell.
Because in Puss in Boots, one of his 9 lives, he was crushed by the bell. And then in Coco,
Ernesto,
the musician, he dies like twice by the bell. I don't know how you die in the land and remember, but he did. Yeah. And then in the Book of Life, they use the bell to like beat him, and then like the explosion goes off in the bell, and then he dies. Yeah. And he traps him. I thought that was really cool.
I wonder why that is. I can't think of any like Mexican like superstition or like story or anything.
I don't know.
But I was wondering if maybe it's like has any kind of relation to like the church, or like when someone passes away or there's a service or something, the church bells are always ringing. Yeah. So I wonder if maybe that's why, or maybe if it's like that saying like for whom the bell tolls, you know, like mysterious. I don't know.
I mean, some of those bells are huge. Yeah. And if I ever see like one hanging like that near me, I want to be scared of it. What if it just like falls and crushes everything? Yeah. I don't know.
That's a reasonable fear, I think. Yeah. Especially with 3 movies where someone dies like that.
I'm sure there's more too. And then the grito.
Oh yeah.
They did it a lot. And I don't know if they did it in Puss in Boots.
I don't think so much, no. No, but definitely in the Book of Life and Coco.
I think one of them was trying to teach him. I think it was Hector.
Yeah, it was Hector trying to teach Miguel.
Yeah, when they were in that like tunnel thing or the cave.
They're in the cave because they're gonna go to the music competition.
Yeah. I thought that was really cool because my mom does that, and I'm like, girl, you too loud.
I can't. I've tried before. I can't. I just embarrass myself.
Me too.
But it's cool. The grito in like Mexican culture, it's just a very like, it's a very proud like cry out.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like especially being in mariachi, like I need to know how to do that, but I just can't. I can't do it. But even in the Book of Life too, like they do a lot of like little ones too.
Yeah.
Like during the little action scenes.
Sometimes you like don't even notice them. They're like in the background.
But and they even have a mariachi band in the Book of Life too. And I thought it was so funny. It was so cute because there's also like they're just like a silly, goofy group of people. And even in Coco, the mariachi,
like the guy who lends him the who's like play, and he's like, I can't play. But obviously he can play. I mean, I put mustaches because
there are a lot of mustaches. That is true.
What's his name? Joaquin? He had like a fake mustache when he was a
even
kid.
since he was a kid.
And I was like, what's the obsession?
I think it's just a kind of like, it's like an image of like machismo, like for men to have that mustache. Like even like in my family, all of the men have a mustache. Really? Yeah, everyone. And even since like my family is mostly girls, but like my cousins and my sisters and everyone's sisters were all girls except for 2 boys. Yeah. So even since they were like barely growing any facial hair, my dad and my uncle and everyone, they'd be like, make sure you take care of it and do this and then you'll get a nice mustache and all this stuff. And I just feel like it's that just like you're like I'm manly and I'm tough,
like you're a manhood now.
And I think the characters that do have those like we were saying, like Joaquin and even the that other god,
the bad one?
I can't remember his name, but he
Zimbala? Or which one is that?
Xolbalba. Yeah, Xolbalba. He has like a long like mustache kind of thing. He has like long mustache.
The white
and I don't, not to associate it with like evil, but it could be like, you know, sometimes your machismo ego or your arrogance, you know, stuff like that will get in the way. And I think in Coco, Ernesto de la Cruz has that same mustache.
Yeah.
And what's the other guy? Hector doesn't have one. Yeah. He doesn't have one. His like whole face is bare and he has a little goatee. But he doesn't have the like mustache or the long. So maybe I think that could also be a connection too.
Yeah. I mean, Puss in Boots, he had that beard for a while, but
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
That is true. But that was when he gave up and he was
that was different. I wonder if they did it on purpose where they had the Baba be the male be the bad one and then the female be the good one.
Maybe. I think it could also just be because of like the actual like Santa Muerte in Mexican culture. Like she is like represented as a feminine kind of like entity.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that could also be why. I never heard of Xolbalba before I saw the Book of Life movie. So I don't know where that comes from exactly. Or maybe it's like another kind of saint. Maybe like a less known saint. Maybe even that represents like, oh well, that's why he's in charge of the forgotten. Because he got forgotten himself.
That's right. I don't know.
And everyone just like loves La Santa Muerte, and that's why she has the whole outfit and all the colors and the candles.
I love the candles.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like when you go to like the cemetery,
the ofrendas,
they're full with candles.
That's true. They probably did do it on purpose. Or maybe we're just making all these connections.
Do you have anything else?
think we talked about music. We talked about the death. We talked about. I think we touched on family, but we didn't.
We can go more into that.
Didn't go super into detail about it because I think that's like, it's definitely like a premise of all three movies.
Mm-hmm.
Because even like in Puss in Boots,
it's more of like a found family.
Yeah, part of his thing is like, oh, well, I'm just like this lone ranger.
Yeah.
You know, I'm the hero. I'm the legend. And then he has his found family of the kitty soft paws and the little perrito.
Yeah.
And they're just like, they're all little friends. And even in the Book of Life, none of those kids are like blood related.
Yeah.
They're just all friends, but they're like family. They're like brothers. Yeah. And then eventually Manolo's with Maria, so then they're like together. But Joaquin is still like a brother to them. And that I think that also plays into a lot of the like emotions and like authenticity of the movies, because in Coco, like, that's just his whole family, and they show like all the tias and the tios and the little cousins and the baby and the the grandma, and then even in the Land of the Remembered, they have all the extra tias and tios, and then Mama Imelda and like everybody.
I don't know, like, I only know like to a certain generation.
Mm-hmm.
So to know that many is crazy to me.
Yeah.
And even like having them on the ofrenda, like, I would love to meet my ancestors.
Yeah, that would be really cool. I know this past year, my mom and I started a project, like an ancestry project. And I think we were only able to go back. Well, not only, it was actually probably like 5 generations on her side, and on my dad's side I think it was 6 on my mom's side and about 5 on my dad's side. And it was just like crazy to think like, dang, like all of these people, like I'm related to them. And on the website that we were using, you can see documents from like where they worked and their time cards and birth certificates or like events that were going on that they participated in, like stuff like that. I think it's really cool because like even in Coco, they're like they all just like know. They just know him, like know about him and what he's doing.
So like if they can only cross over on that night, how do they know him? I mean, I guess they go every year, right?
Yeah, probably. That's why. I would imagine that's why. But also I think with the I don't know, like maybe like the spirit guides, like because the spirit guides can come back and forth.
Oh.
So maybe they like I don't know, somehow communicate that to them.
Yeah.
But
yeah, my brother did the ancestry too, and he was like showing us pictures of like our grandpa from like high school or something, and I was like, dang.
Yeah, I think that's just really cool. I think it could also kind of symbolize the I guess that sense of like, well, they're not really gone, because like we touched on earlier, like they're always watching over. They're always watching over. So that could also be why they just like know things, even though they can't necessarily cross over and come back. Or even in the Book of Life, they don't necessarily cross back and forth, but they know all about Manolo. And they know that he doesn't want to be a bullfighter and that he wants to be a musician. And like that's the first thing they tell him when he gets there, like, oh, you're the musician.
Yeah, his grandpa's like, why didn't you kill that bull? And I'm like, dang, give him a break.
Yeah, it's like it just happened.
Because my last name is Villarreal, and my dad always tells me like it means family of the royal house. And I'm like, where does that come from? Like, how far back are we, like, from like distant relatives of a royal family or something?
Yeah, mine's the same way. My last name is Aragon, and that used to be like a little kingdom in Spain.
Oh, really?
Like in like 12 something, like a long time ago. So I wonder too, like, how far back do I have to go to find that?
I don't know. That's crazy to think about, like, all these people
Yeah.
came together to create you. And it's...
And you especially see it in the Book of Life, because I like how they show all the different, like, time periods. Like, they have one that looks kind of like Aztec.
Yeah,
like,
I noticed that, too.
That kind of style. I think one is, like, a pirate or something.
Yes.
They have some... the
like,
sisters from the Mexican Revolution.
Oh.
They have, like, all the different time periods coming down.
Which one are the twins? Because the twins have, like, a bowler hat on.
Oh, that's true. That one is in Coco.
Yeah.
The twin tios, they have those style hat. That's probably from, like,
early
40s, 20s.
Yeah.
Or even the late 1800s. Yeah. It goes back way.
Yeah.
Super far.